And we're back. Thanks again for joining us here at the Canadian Hydrogen Convention inside the Edmonton Region Hydrogen Hub Pavilion and on the Edmonton Global stage. I'm Chris McLeod with Edmonton Global, and we're hosting the last session of the day with Rachel Smith from Air Products. Rachel is the Vice President and General Manager of Air Products Canada. Rachel, thanks so much for joining us.
Well, thank you so much for having me here, Chris. It's a pleasure to be here on the stage with Edmonton Global.
Fantastic. Now, we just watched Eric Guter and the larger Air Products team make a huge announcement this morning. So sadly, we had to wait all day to get you on the stage. You've been the belle of the ball here. Everybody wants to talk to Air Products. Can you walk us through what this morning's announcement was?
Absolutely. This is a big deal for Alberta and for the region and developing the hydrogen economy. So what we announced this morning is that we are activating the Edmonton-Calgary Corridor for hydrogen-fueled transportation. And so we're establishing a network of commercial scale, high reliability, multimodal stations that will be able to supply both light duty vehicles and heavy duty vehicles.
Wow, that's amazing. So again, I think most people know that you're building the world's largest net zero hydrogen facility right now in the Edmonton region. So the product of that then is going to be what's fueling those, is it 1-2 stations? How does that work?
Exactly. So our net zero hydrogen energy complex that's well under construction right now in the Edmonton region, a portion of that hydrogen we'll use in our liquefaction facility, so turn that into liquid hydrogen. And that's really what's going to enable the transition of the transportation sector to zero emission fuel. And I can talk more about that. But so that liquid hydrogen is what we'll use for our fueling stations. We're going to have multiple stations in Edmonton, multiple stations in Calgary, and then of course along Highway 2 we'll have stations to make sure that there's the consumer confidence in this corridor and start getting vehicles on the road.
That's really, that is truly amazing. And for people who maybe aren't from Alberta, like the Edmonton-Calgary Corridor is one of the busiest economic corridors, not just in Canada, but in North America. So to be able to have, trucks going back and forth, and even medium duty, you said, going back and forth is really going to be a game changer.
Absolutely. So these stations, as I mentioned, will be able to supply light duty vehicles that we see on the road today with the Edmonton International Airport's fleet, with the Premier of Alberta talking about the 3 Toyota Mirais. So vehicles are coming. So the light duty is there today, and we really see Canada as being the ideal location for heavy duty transportation, given the cold weather as well as the long haul distances. So by activating this corridor, we want to really build that consumer confidence and start to convince, and start to enable trucking companies and drivers of all types of vehicles to adopt hydrogen.
Yeah, again, I'm going to say the word amazing probably 18 times. So at some point, maybe people will start bleeping me as I say that, but it really is an amazing thing. And you know what, we're working a lot in hydrogen, and we are asked all the time about hydrogen vehicles in particular. And when will I be able to buy one and drive one? Of course, you can buy one today, but it's been really tricky to actually, fill it up. So this will solve a big part of that issue.
Absolutely. So a big part of the next step, which is vehicle adoption, is that consumer confidence. And so one is making sure that there's an awareness that hydrogen solves all of the challenges that we continue to hear about battery electric vehicles, including the weight of the batteries and the inefficiency that causes, the cold weather impacts, the fueling times, and then the electrical infrastructure that is required. And so while electrification may work in some applications, in some geographies, what's important is hydrogen works in all applications, and it's ideal for Canada where it's spread out, and we do have cold weather impacts and long haul distances.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So as this starts to get built out, how is it a couple of trucks you can handle, or how big are these facilities?
Great question. So these are commercial scale. So today we have 2 mobile fuelers supporting demonstration projects and the early adopters. They're up today and running. One's at the International Airport, and the other is now up and running on Aurora Road, right adjacent to our project. And so going forward, it's now about building at scale. And so the stations we're going to be building for light duty and heavy duty are commercial scale and high reliability. So each station will be able to supply up to 200 trucks or 2,000 cars per day.
Wow, that's a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. We've had conversations all day today. Some of them around vehicles and what the fuel standards that they need. Pretty well everybody we've talked to has talked more about a high PSI, but still gas, and how pure the hydrogen needs to be. If you're talking liquid, that's like a whole different level of how far you can go, how clean it is. Can you just maybe talk a bit about the difference between, or what liquid gets you that just compressed gas doesn't?
Absolutely. So we talked about how hydrogen solves the challenges we see with battery electric.
Yeah.
But now to take it one step further, liquid hydrogen is fuel cell grade ready. So it already meets that high quality specification required. Second, it allows us to really mirror the consumer experience that we all enjoy today with safe, reliable, fast fills. And that's how we're going to convince this market to transition, is making sure that the consumer experience is equal to or even better than what we experience today.
And again, the Edmonton region is in many ways the perfect place to build this out from. We've got the geology, we've got the natural gas feedstocks, we've got major players like Air Products that are here and building and expanding. We've helped launch with you the 5,000 Hydrogen Vehicle Challenge. We're trying to have and will have at least 5,000 vehicles on the road, hydrogen fueled or dual fueled, within 5 years. We're done 1 year of that so far, so 4 and counting. But the plan is to build that out across the country. Can you just talk about how Air Products this is part of the commitment to that, and just how you think that maybe the Edmonton region or Alberta is the place to build from?
Absolutely. So first, the initiative of the Edmonton Region 5,000 Vehicle Challenge is so incredibly important to building out the transportation market and, again, that consumer confidence in this market. And so what this initiative is doing is it's bringing together key industry stakeholders that are investing today across the value chain, getting us all in a room and collaborating on what is seen as the barriers to accelerating that transition. And so that's incredibly important because we're going to have the energy supply, we're going to have the infrastructure at scale, and now we need those 5,000 vehicles on the road. We're ready for them.
Okay, and they're coming. Let's shift gears a little bit. We've been mostly talking, again, the fueling stations, mobility. Again, you're in the process of building the world's largest net zero hydrogen facility right now. How's progress coming?
Yes, we are. So we're building the world's largest net zero hydrogen energy complex right here in the region. So this is a 165 million scuff a day facility.
Wow.
It's got all the bells and whistles that enable it to be net zero. We've got a renewable feedstock from our partner Imperial Oil. We're going to demonstrate the world's first 100% hydrogen-fired power generation facility. And if you think about that, we're going to prove that clean hydrogen can be a base load power source. So that'll be huge. And then, of course, we have the liquid hydrogen for the transportation sector. So today, the facility is well under construction. The team is very close to completing deep undergrounds. There was significant undergrounds going in, kilometers of pipeline, et cetera. There's thousands of pilings now in the ground. We are laying the foundations and pouring the foundations right now and gearing up to see large vessels come to site this summer, which is so exciting for me to see our vision start to come to life. And I'm sure everybody in the region is keen to start seeing this project take shape.
Yeah, we absolutely are. I think it's all we've been talking about since you first announced it. Can you just talk about how this actually fits into the Alberta carbon trunk line, how carbon's being sequestered, because that's a critical piece to this as well, is taking advantage of our geology.
Oh, absolutely. And And maybe from there I can talk a little bit about the benefits for the region.
Yeah,
but
please.
as part of this project, one of our partners, Wolf Carbon Solutions, is building out additional carbon infrastructure throughout the heartland that'll be able to collect the carbon dioxide from our project and others. And then it's going to tie into the Alberta Carbon Trunk Line, so we're leveraging existing infrastructure, and then it'll be safely stored back underground where the carbon came from.
Yeah.
So a little bit of the circular economy also, with refining our natural gas into a clean hydrogen product and capturing those carbon molecules and storing them back.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm going to ask you to do a little bit of a plug. So you could have chosen anywhere in the world to build this. Not everywhere has the geology and the resources or the people. But can you just talk a bit about why it was that the Edmonton region is where Air Products picked to build this project?
So I love talking about this because Air Products is a global company and can choose to invest anywhere in the world. But, there's few places in the world that have the natural resources, the geology, the infrastructure that we talked about, the talent, and really the strong leadership and desire to be a global leader in building out and establishing a new hydrogen economy. I mean, it's incredible the activity that we're seeing in this region. I know I talked about our project and the bells and whistles that come with it, with liquid hydrogen and power. But I mean, another part of our project is Imperial Oil is building the largest renewable diesel facility in Canada.
Wow.
We're building out the carbon infrastructure. We're going to have hydrogen-fired power and liquid hydrogen for transportation. There's just so much activity here, and it's really because of everything that this region can offer.
Yeah, and again, it is one of the few places in the world that's actually capable of doing this. And I know that you're part of, and Air Products is part of, this mini documentary series where we're filming called Limitless Solutions, which we're also planning to launch in 2025. It's just coincidental. It's going to be when your main facility opens. But it's really is capturing the stories of the companies all over the world that have said, we need to decarbonize. It's critical for our planet. It's actually good economics. And the place we want to make our bet is the Edmonton region.
Absolutely. I mean, it's about doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And the energy transition is about the need to address climate change globally. And hydrogen is the most abundant clean energy source on the planet. So we need to move in this direction. It's incredibly important. And it can be done. And it can be done at scale. And it's happening right here.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've only got about a minute left, Rachel. You've been to this show since the beginning. Again, Air Products is one of the reasons we even created the Canadian Hydrogen Convention, because of your leadership in this space. What do you think of how it's grown? Like this year, we're probably getting close to 10,000 people. It's the largest show in North America in hydrogen. How does it feel to be kind of at the ground floor of this, and any takeaways?
Oh, I mean, this event just gets bigger and better every year, and definitely have to acknowledge the organizers, Edmonton Global as a co-host. DMG has done a fantastic job in continuing to make this a premier must-attend event. And that's important because that's how we're going to keep this momentum going, how we're going to turn ambition into action. And I would say that's my key takeaway at the event this year is we're really talking about actions that are being taken now, right here in the region and across Alberta, and why, folks around the globe need to pay attention to Alberta.
I love that. Ambition to action. That's the key takeaway. Again, Air Products is doing unbelievable work. They really have invested, their hearts, minds, and financials into projects here. We're thrilled to be working with you and just love the leadership that you're showing. Really, if we had more Rachel Smiths in this place, we would knock the world out. It's really been, again, the end of the first day here at the Canadian Hydrogen Convention. Thanks so much for joining us for this live stream from the Edmonton Global Stage inside the Edmonton Region Hydrogen Hub. Rachel, thanks again. And tomorrow we start with a session with Alberta Innovates, talking about a whole bunch of things that are coming up innovative in hydrogen. So tune in tomorrow at 10 a.m. and it'll be a full packed day tomorrow as well.